Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a series where we will talk about some of the fiqhi rulings pertaining what is known as udhiyah. And this terminology may be new to you, as the vast majority of the Muslims who speak Urdu would call it Qurbani. But we tend to relate people to the Islamic terminology, which is udhiyah. And this would come to you in points. So these series are short, concise, but hopefully to the point. So point number one, what is udhiyah? Udhiyah is a sacrifice that the Muslims slaughter during the days of Eid al-Adha, which coincides with the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th of the last month in the Hijri year, known as Dhul Hijjah. So what are we to slaughter as a sacrifice? Chicken, seafood, fish, horses? No. It is limited only to grazing livestock. So you can slaughter and sacrifice camels, you can slaughter and sacrifice cows, sheep, and goats. And you do this with the intention to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And it is called udhiyah, as some scholars say, because it is slaughtered at the time of duha, which is after the prayer of Eid, and we will get to talk about that, insha'Allah Azza wa Jal. What is best when it comes to selecting and choosing my sacrifice? Well, scholars say the best of sacrifice is the healthiest, the fattest, the one that has more meat than the others, the one that looks nice. Abu Umama ibn Sahel says, we used to make our udhiyah fat during Medina, and all the Muslims used to take care of their udhiyah prior to the day of slaughtering and feeding it a lot. Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet ﷺ used to offer udhiyah with two big rams, horned rams, that were white mixed with black. In other narrations, that this ram is white, walking in black, looking in black, meaning that his eyes were, the area around his eyes were black, his hoofs and legs were black, but the whole thing was white. So this means that the Prophet ﷺ used to take and select the best possible sacrifice to Allah Azza wa Jal. Not like what we do when we check online and see where we can send money to countries, to refugee camps, to poor Muslim areas. What is the least to be paid? This is totally wrong and an indication of the reward that you will be getting on the Day of Judgment. Select the best, the most expensive, so that you are sacrificing something to this for the sake of Allah, and you anticipate the reward as well. Many people ask, with the lockdown, we won't be able to offer the sacrifice. So can we give the money to the poor directly? The answer is no. This is a ritual. You cannot substitute it with something else. During the lockdown for the past 4 or 5 months, people did not stop eating meat, which means that they kept on slaughtering and consuming meat, business as usual. Why is it on the day of Eid that shaitan is making us think that we won't be able to sacrifice, hence we won't be able to distribute the meat? No, we will, insha'Allah, be able to do that. And whenever there is a will, there is a way. So it does not suffice to give the poor the amount of this sacrifice. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, may Allah have mercy on his soul, one of the great tabi'een, he said, for me to give sacrifice with a sheep on the Eid of Adha is more beloved to me than to give 100 dirham as charity. So what counts is what Allah tells you to do, not what you feel is better for you to do. I could have a horse that costs $10,000, way more expensive than any sheep or ram. So if I slaughter it on the day of Hajj, on the day of Eid, for the sake of Allah, would it suffice? The answer is no. Because Allah told you to sacrifice only from the categories He told us to do so. So a horse doesn't do the job. If you slaughter something that is so expensive, but it is not a camel, cow, sheep, or goat, it doesn't do the job either. Part of the good deeds that we can offer in these beautiful 10 days of the beginning of the month of the Hijjah, what is related to udhiyah. What is that? Sometimes I have wealth that Allah has blessed me with. So instead, I can buy an udhiyah and give it to the poor so that they offer the slaughtering for themselves, and I would make them happy for that. Or give them the money that would enable them to buy their own sacrifice and offer their udhiyah. And Uqba ibn Amir, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet ﷺ used to divide udhiyah between his companions, meaning that he would give them rams and cows and camels so that they would offer that as if it's from their own money. And let's assume I am someone who's supposed to slaughter like 6 or 7 udhiyah. One on my behalf, one for a cousin, one because my father wrote in his will that I do that every year. So I can also make the poor happy by giving them from it, by giving them authorization. So buy this sheep or take this sheep and slaughter it in front of your children on the day of Eid so that they would be happy, and the meat is for you to distribute as per the sunnah. This would make them happy and you will be rewarded twice for that. You often say udhiyah with a sheep, with a ram, but then you also say that we can offer udhiyah with livestock. So can we slaughter a camel or a cow? The answer is yes. However, due to the fact that a camel or a cow have more meat than a sheep, therefore in Islam, what suffices through one sheep, this is equivalent to 1/7 of a camel or of a cow, which means I can offer one sheep for my house and my dependents. But if I want to take part in a cow or a camel, I can join 6 others. So the 7 of us would have 1/7 of this cow or camel, and this 1/7 would suffice for a single sheep. And not necessarily the whole 7 are all offering udhiyah. See, we can come on the day of Eid, and 2 of us want 2/7 of this cow for udhiyah, and the rest is being bought by an individual who wants the meat only. He doesn't want to offer udhiyah. So he takes his 5/7 to store in his freezer. There's no problem in that, and this is totally legit.